So we've been talking about this for weeks, ever since the LIV Tour came into being and started poaching some bold-faced, big-time championship players from the PGA Tour, which appeared to be caught completely flat-footed, basically telling these guys, you're taking all that money from the LIV Tour, don't expect to get your tour card back. And ever since then, the issues that Phil Mickelson put front and center that kind of got lost in the shuffle of his comments about the Saudi royal family, and he's never going to join. He has problems joining the LIV Tour because of their bad mofos and things of that nature, and everything else he was saying around it that caused, as we learned subsequently, the PGA Tour to suspend him. It seems that all of the issues that Phil was bringing to the fore, the PGA Tour is addressed and is continue to addressing. The PGA Tour announced that top players from the PGA Tour are committing to compete in at least 20 events starting next season, including 12 elevated tournaments. What does that mean? Well, the purses are going to be 15 and 20 million bucks. That's still, a mere bag of shells when you're talking about somebody getting 100 million just to play, just to join a tour. But not everyone's getting that from the LIV Tour. But this is apparently what came out of that players only meeting we spoke about with Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective last week. Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy hosted that players only meeting prior to the BMW Championship last week. And they've all rallied around each other. And Rory McIlroy said, I'll read this quote here. We've all made a commitment to get together more often to make the product more compelling. When asked about how this is going to be affecting things moving forward with the LIV Tour, ready for this, Chris? You ready for this quote?
What do we got?
I don't have a crystal ball, he said.
Nah, Rory.
Is Rory's going to coach in the NFL now? Is that what's happening? But I think everyone in that room felt this was the best way to move forward. And the PGA Tour members, the top players, to be determined by something called the Player Impact Program, will commit to playing at least 20 events next season, including, the Memorial, the Players Championship, the Arnold Palmer, the Genesis that's out here in Los Angeles, the Majors, as well as the Century TOC, and then the FedEx Cup playoffs, the St. Jude, the BMW, and the Tour Championship. And more money's coming. And there's also, get this, is there a team event that's coming up as well, Chris?
Starting in 2024, Tiger and Rory have had this new joint venture that they're a tech-infused golf league that's going to take place in like football stadiums. It's basically kind of going to be like Top Golf on steroids with simulators, and it's going to be on Monday nights. It's kind of going to be awesome.
Okay. So, as well, the PGA Tour is launching an earnings assurance program for fully exempt members, guarantees a league minimum salary of $500,000 per player. Now, that's the floor, right?
Yes, so that's like against winning. So that's kind of your basic
You got to participate in 15 events to get that. Rookies and returning members are going to receive the money at the start of the season. So, hey, everybody.
Yeah, kind of up front.
All those folks that are joining the LIV Tour and are guaranteed money, even if they finish 54th in the 54-hole event, there's no cut there. Here's some money.
Yeah, guys are going to get $5,000 if they miss a cut.
And the tour is going to subsidize travel and tournament-related expenses for the players.
And it's funny you mentioned Phil. Like one of Phil Mickelson's biggest gripes against the tour is he claimed that Jay Monahan and the tour were sitting on this big stockpile of cash that they weren't sharing with the players. And now, out of the blue, the tour has all this money to pump into the league, pump into the events and create all these elevated events. And now we got the team thing coming. It's like, okay, so maybe Phil was right.
Player Impact Program.
So that's been going on for a couple of years now. It's kind of like social media interaction, guys who are helping grow the game. Last year, I think Tiger was in first and got a $10 million bonus. So I think that's being doubled now.
From $50 million to $100 million.
Yeah, and they're making it from the top 10 players to the top 20 players now. So that's another thing for guys to earn extra money throughout the year.
So is that why Alan Shipnuck tweeted out today Phil was right?
Yeah, and it was funny. He responded to someone who was like, yeah, Phil was right, but he doesn't get to reap any of the rewards of this. And Alan Shipnuck responded, Shakespearean.
Jay Monahan was asked if anybody who left for the LIV Tour, seeing all these changes, says, you know what, that's what I was looking for. So let me come back. Would he allow it? Here's his answer.
If a player who has gone off to LIV looked at this and says, this looks pretty good, would you lift the suspension and welcome him back?
No.
Why not?
They've joined the LIV Golf Series, and they've made that commitment. And for most of them, they've made multi-year commitments. So as I've been clear throughout, every player has a choice, and I respect their choice. But they've made it. We've made ours. We're going to continue to focus on the things that we control and get stronger and stronger. And I think they understand that.
Their lawyers might not.
And does he respect
Does
their choice?
He really respect it?
I don't really think that's true, but
I think he should be forced to go hire register on that. I respect it.
Right.
I don't think he respects their choice at all.
At all.
But
he banned them.
He respects their purse and knowing that there's no competing. Like, even all of this money that has been added, and I'm sure fans are sitting here, and it's just like when the baseball salaries started exploding, and you're a fan, and you're just like, it's like you can't relate as a fan. You just can't relate. It's to all that money. Oh, great. So the people who are already flying around in their Lear jets are now going to get all this more money. They're being respected by the tour, you know, and now I'm going to root harder for these rich people because they're being enriched more. And it's a tough thing for a fan to swallow, but the bottom line that a fan has to understand is if this is what's going to keep them on the PGA Tour, and that's the method of golf that you enjoy watching and the format of competition that you're used to or like watching, or you're just an old school individual, this is the way to keep them, I think.
Yep.
Because the Saudis and Greg Norman might be sitting there thinking, oh, really? You're just adding that much? Did you check out Aramco's second quarter profits? Anybody? That's nothing. So if the LIV wants to fight fire with fire, there's going to be a lot of money flowing. So we'll see what happens. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah,
but,
and someone said it's just like the tour trying to buy loyalty, and like I think that's fine. Like, well, you have to get all the best players in the same events.
It's the same thing though that Daryl Morey once said here when he was an in-studio guest. I think he was still with the Rockets, and I said to him, you know, how do you deal with the fact that a player could just turn around and say, I want out, and you have to oblige, even though the Nets just took a stand with Durant that was successful for them for the time being. And we'll talk to Shams Charania about that in hour 3 as to what they told Durant to put that genie back in the bottle for the time being. But I asked Morey, how do you deal with that? And he's like, I love it because it's my job to make sure a player loves it here and with my organization so much, they'll never ask for the trade.
Right.
We'll win here, and we treat you right. You don't want out. And I guess that's the way to do this here. Like, hey, we're going to make sure, like, yeah, $5,000 to miss a cut. Is that life-changing money for somebody that needs the tour to also provide child care services when the player is on the road with their baby? Not so much. But if you're going to now say, we'll pick up your first-class travel for you, your spouse, your kid, we'll cover the child care costs, we'll do that, and then suddenly that player spikes to a top 10, top 20 status, they'll remember, we assume, what happened on the way up, that they were taken care of. And the LIV Tour comes knocking, and it's just like, well, where were you when I was 150th in the world? And, you know, my travel was picked up and didn't have to worry about child care and didn't have to worry about health care. Where were you? Now suddenly I'm good. You want to enrich me? I'm with the PGA Tour. Maybe that's part of the process here. You know? So that could be part of what the PGA Tour is doing here. But to fans in general, it's just funny money. It's just, I mean,
yeah.
So the player that used to get $10 million in the PIP program, the Player Impact program, now you get $15 million because you're trying to grow the game. Oh, okay.
Right.
Now the pursers are now $50 million more. Oh, okay. All I care about is that the players don't leave, and that the tournaments that I enjoy watching
have the best players.
Yeah,
that's all I care about.
But I'm just wondering if somebody, part of the Saudi royal family, or Greg Norman's seeing these numbers and go, okay, you should have added another zero, pal. Because guess what we're going to do?
And they might do that.
And so instead of growing the game, it's just growing bank accounts. And I don't know if fans really care. We just want to see the events that we love to see in the format that we've grown up loving, and understand it does put the players to the ultimate test. 4 rounds, 18 holes each. You got to make a cut. You know? I just want to see that filled up with all the bold-faced names and give me some great golf. And so the PGA Tour did what they had to do.